Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to KSP. That's right, the series is not dead again. Um, I've had some issues, I've had some problems. There's a few things I'm going to touch on real quick before I start talking about the issues and problems. Firstly, you will notice I have 443 signs rather than the 40 signs that I had the last time. This is really the only thing I want to touch on right now because what I'm going to do is I am going to slide in some footage of how I got that science while I'm talking to you about the problems that have been going on and the method by which I got the science. So basically what you guys are going to see is me constructing, flying, landing, and returning a hastily built rocket to the moon. I actually managed to get it on the far side crater, which was absolutely perfect because, of course, that's how I got the 400 and the extra 400 science, was getting a new biome. Um, it actually went pretty well. I mean, I still have the basic model for it saved, and I don't know if I'll be using it again though. It actually docked with the station really well. I mean, it was easy to link up and everything. I definitely had a fuel problem, but when don't I ever have a fuel problem? Uh, but thanks to some careful finagling and timing, it wasn't too big of an issue. I mean, I did run out of fuel and had to aero brake around the planet a whole bunch of times just to get down safely because, of course, I kept destroying my parachute. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, it all went fairly smoothly. So my issue has been the last couple times I've played and I've tried to record, and I have tried to record. Um, I've been working on various space planes, and they're not going well. I don't know what I need, but I will show you guys in this video one of the space planes that I've been working on. It does actually get into space. The problem I have is all of my space planes only just get into orbit before running out of fuel. Um, Now I know that was the basic point of me building the tug, was to get them into orbit, switch to the tug, pull them in, and then use the tug to pull them back in. The problem is doing that is very complicated. Like, it takes a already complicated problem and complicates it even more. So I've been working to try and build a space plane that can actually make it into orbit and get up to the space station itself. Um, Apparently I'm not good at it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I've looked at other people's videos, and I don't know. I mean, I'm doing basically the same thing. I probably even have like about the same amount of fuel, but like, it may be the fact, because I mean, I know most of the people I watch are using Ferrum Aerospace. Um, and it may have something to do with that. I think the stock KSP uh, KSP world atmosphere is just too thick for the planes. Now I do have one that stands the best chance of actually getting up, and I will show you guys that. But for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut to post commentary and what's the best way to put it? Like, cut to post commentary like I normally do, and just kind of explain things from there. However, that being said, hopefully by this point I have showed you guys all the footage I want to show you, because I want to show, if I haven't, then I'll just shoot on some more video later on. But I'm going to cut back to the main game and go into the window and show off sort of what I have plans on buying. This would be very helpful Unfortunately, it won't be very helpful right now. Primarily, I need, well, I need this. I mean, I need more wing, and actually this wouldn't be too bad either, because that would give me the smaller rockets. And so I mean, these things are really, really, really not very powerful, but I'm telling you, on the moon, it makes, this thing makes a world of difference. You know, and they don't use like any fuel at all. Like at max, it's 0.5 a second on liquid, 0.6 for oxidizer. I mean, this one is 0.06. And this runs off monopropellant. Like, man, these things would really come in handy. We see that, unfortunately, well, I might have enough. So we want to get this. That's going to be 90. Hey, what do you know? We got enough. So that's the setup we're going with, and I will try and use these, or have some ideas for all this stuff. So we're going to cut to post-commentary, and I'll show off the planes, as well as I'll show off my best plane. And actually, you know what? I may redesign it. Alright. We'll do some testing. So, but KSP is back, ladies and gentlemen. So, go post commentary. So, now you guys get to see me fail at building a space plane. Or two. I'm going to first show off my first one that I've actually been able to get sort of to work. And when I say sort of, I mean sort of. It has not functioned to the best of my capabilities. It has not functioned properly. But I will show it off, kind of give you guys a rough idea of what I'm dealing with. And we'll build another one after that. But for the most part, this is what I've been doing this entire time. So, like I said, it's not that I've been putting KSP off, but I've been struggling so hard to get a space plane up. I mean, I don't know why it's being so difficult. I mean, I don't get it. Like, I think I might actually have to get like Ferrum Aerospace, because I think, if I remember correctly, I think some people were saying that the stock atmospheres were like way too thick, and it's pretty much made it just about impossible to build a space plane. Like I said, I mean, I had to use, like, I use solid rocket boosters, and that's still not enough to get it out. See, my biggest problem is it's fuel. Always fuel. It's never not fuel. If I add more fuel, the plane's too heavy and it won't get up. If I add less fuel, the plane runs out of fuel before I can get into space. So, I figured I'd try my head at a slightly more sleeker, more aerodynamic style of craft. And see how well that works. Unfortunately, I can tell you right now, it does not work very well. Not well enough, anyway. I don't know, like, guys, I honestly don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I mean, I really want to get a space plane up, because the space plane would be so much more helpful, so much more beneficial than constantly sending out rockets. Because, I mean, the rockets have the same basic problem. I mean, fortunately, I have the fuel, the space station in orbit. Oh, excuse me. So, fortunately, I have that space station in orbit, but even that's, I mean, I've still got to refuel that. Like these missions are getting longer and longer and longer and harder and harder and harder each and every time that that I go through them. So um, I don't really know exactly what it is I'm gonna do as far as KSP goes, but I will. Um, I'll keep sort of pushing forward with space plane stuff. I will probably try and send up a few more rockets later on. However, there is one issue that I'm running into with the space planes that I have not seen anybody else have. So you'll notice the jets on the side. For some reason, the jet engines on the side use the liquid oxidizer from the middle of the tank, even though there's no fuel lines running to it. That's not a problem until I go to switch over into orbit, where the rocket engines don't have enough liquid oxidizer, enough liquid fuel to mix with the oxidizer. And I end up running into a situation that you guys will see later on where I have oxidizer but no liquid fuel because it's not pulling the fuel from the tank. So that's why you saw that first plane. That's why you saw those fuel tanks running from the jet engines back to the rockets, is because for some reason that's the only way I can get the rockets to actually use uh, get everything to balance out properly. I can also tell you that this was a terrible design. I ended up changing it. I'll change it here in a little bit. Um, but even still, um, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I don't know why I'm having so many problems with it. Like I mean, I haven't seen anybody else having like this many problems with KSP in general. Seems to be. I don't know. I don't know if it's me or if it's KSP, but like, I mean, I've built tons and tons of space planes before, and this is the first time I've ever had like this kinds of problems with space planes. Like I haven't had this big of an issue. I mean, I've had a few problems before, but nothing like this. Where, I mean, you're talking. It's been about a month and a half. I don't know. I'll have to check the date on my last KSP video, but like it's been about a month and a half or so. I mean, pretty close to it. And I've literally spent. I mean, this is not a joke. I have spent all of that time trying to work on. Like every weekend has been doing this, like trying to build a functionable space plane. So like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna have to do in order to get this thing to work, or maybe I'll just have to scrap the whole thing altogether. I'll probably do a little bit of research this week, later on, at some point. I don't know. Um, I just don't know, guys. Like, I mean, I do want to get back into the game. I really do like the game, but I want a space plane. Um, Now I might consider putting a torque wheel on this craft and seeing if maybe that helps out a little bit. But even still, I don't think that'll be enough. Because right now, for some reason, this particular craft doesn't pitch upwards. It has a hard time pitching upwards. So I'm thinking what I'll do is, like I said, I'll put that torque wheel on there and see if that helps out any. I mean, it's fine in the atmosphere, but oh, excuse me. But once you get it to the point um, where it's like kind of at its best, which is roughly about 17, 18,000 feet, it really starts to have a hard time. I mean, if you can see the in the lower left-hand corner, the pitch angle slowly starts inching its way upwards as the ship's computer tries to keep the thing pointing up. But yes, I don't know what I'm gonna end up having to do, guys. I mean, I even added some smaller rocket engines here to kind of help boost. And also, I had an idea about that, about using those smaller rocket engines when I'm in space, because they use so much less fuel and I can get away with using them. You know, because of course you don't need a lot of thrust when once you're in space. So I mean, even those small rocket engines will be more than enough to get this thing not only to the moon, but land on the moon, get all the research, fly around, and come back. I mean, those little engines will have more than enough if I can get this thing into space. You know, and you know, once we're in space, I can always refuel using the space station. So I don't really know what I'm going to end up doing with KSP. Hopefully, at some point, I'll be able to figure out how to get the space plane stuff working again. The only other idea I had about the space plane stuff is was taking that first rocket, that first plane that you saw with the solid rocket boosters strapped to the bottom of it. If I get that up to about 1,000 meters per second near the surface and then just do a really hard pitch upward, that seems to do the best. The only problem with that, of course, is the heat builds up really, really quickly, and yeah, it just, I don't really know. But I'm gonna push on, keep moving forward, strive diligently. Hopefully the next video will be of a space plane. If not, I will do a video next week, and I will try my best to hopefully it'll be a spaceplane video, but most likely it'll probably end up being a rocket video where I just build another rocket, send it up, dock it with the station as usual, and go off. I'll probably head off to like Minmus or something like that, try and get something pretty far out. So I'm just basically going to bring this thing back to the hangar. Not even going to worry about landing it. I mean, a failed design is a failed design no matter how you slice it. So I'll toy around with it. I'll probably look some videos up, hit up Scott's channel, see if he's built any space planes recently. But like I said, I think he uses Ferrum Aerospace, so that doesn't really help me at all. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me, guys. I'm done for the day. And to that, I'm gonna say a very reluctant and sad sayonara.